Today, I'd like to talk about shrinkflation directly, and I'm going to do that in what will hopefully be maybe a new series. I'm terrible at keeping up with things, but the point of this is I'm going to discuss what has been found to be shrinkflated this week, which is a surprising amount of things. I think I can make a video a week and not run out of content because the companies just never stop. So if you're interested in shrinkflation, I'm going to quickly go over. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, potentially 15 cases here of shrinkflation, most of them food, of course, and they're really bad. So I'm just going to get into it now. This is going to be the screen view here. Most of these are from Reddit, by the way. Shout out to the Shrinkflation subreddit because it is by far the best resource you can really get on this. I can't think of any other website that's really as up to date on this kind of thing. It has to be a community effort, basically, which is why it's on Reddit. One person can't really keep up with this sort of thing, but as a community, keep posting to the subreddit, please, because I love seeing it. I mean, I hate seeing it, honestly, but I like seeing what's going on. And we're going to start here. Now, again, all these stories are from a week. This is 7 days ago. I only looked at 7 days of posts, and I got all these tabs. I got all these tabs up here. But first, we're going to start with Tyson chicken. And again, these are not in order. The only order these are in are the date they were posted to the subreddit, basically. So these could be slightly out of order. But Tyson chicken nuggets, we went from 4.4 pounds, which was 70.4 ounces, to approximately 64 ounces. So we've lost 6 ounces, basically, 6.4 to be precise, which we are going to be because they are. So we've lost 6.4 ounces of chicken nuggets in the family pack, which used to advertise itself as a 4.4 pound family pack, which no longer does, of course. Tyson changed all their packaging to this kind of new style, which is fine. But as you can see, that was mainly to cover up the fact that they're shrinking the sizes while also still charging the same or, in fact, more money. So let's move on from that. I don't want to spend too long on each one, but this one might be the one I spend the longest on, just because there's a lot of information about it. So if you're interested in shrinkflation of Tide laundry detergent, get ready, because this person wrote a whole, basically, diatribe about the numbers. But first, we'll get to straight up shrinkflation that's obvious to spot right here, 92 to 84 ounces. 84 ounces is what you're going to be standardized going forward, it seems to be. And if you see a 92 ounce, grab it, I guess, because they're no longer going to exist. We have lost 6, 7, 8 fluid ounces of Tide, with no actual note of change on the package, and they also still say 59 loads. Now that's the most interesting part of this to me, is you lose all of those ounces, but you still get 59 loads. Now they can say that they increase the concentration or whatever, but now we're going to get into some details from this guy, Jeff. Thank you, Jeff, who even got a response from Tide, a couple of them, but this person basically bought these 2 Tide bottles, which both are 84 fluid ounces, as a matter of fact, but they're slightly different. And more importantly, the caps are very different. So as he says, the new caps, the numbers are higher in every situation. You can see that the 5 goes all the way up to the top instead of where it was before. Essentially making you use more laundry detergent. So this guy went through the weight of what it is per cap line. So it used to be 38 milliliters of fluid, essentially, to do the one line, and now it's 47, and a 5 jumped up basically 40 milliliters. So you're going to get a lot less loads with that kind of math, but Tide has obviously not changed on the bottle. It still says 59 loads. There's a way they get away with this, which is listed here. He noted it, which is that they say 59 loads as measured just below line 1, which that measurement lets them, as he says, get away with pretty much whatever they want, because it's not an actual official measurement. And the fact that they can advertise that as an official measurement is ridiculous. That should be something that should be regulated. As a matter of fact, there should be strict regulation of this kind of exact thing, because this is how they get away with this crap. So he emailed Tide, and he got a couple of responses. These are obviously not the CEO of Tide. It's just the care team, the Tide team, but they're basically gaslighting him, saying, "Hey, nothing changed. Nothing changed." They send him 2 responses that nothing actually changed, and then the 3rd response they say, and this is some bullshit right here. This is next level bullshit. This is why this is so interesting. I appreciate your response, and this is a representative of Tide. I appreciate your response. As machines and consumer behavior change over time, we continually update products and packaging to deliver a best-in-class laundry experience. False. We do this by improving formula performance, updating dosing instructions, and optimizing the packing, including our caps. In this instance, as previously mentioned, the drums in washing machines have gotten bigger over time. Is that true? I have no fucking clue, but I don't really think that's relevant to this. As a result, the size of larger loads of Tide for many consumers has been increasing as measured by pounds of laundry. Therefore, Tide increased the heights of bars 3, 4, and 5 to ensure consumers who use Tide get the best-in-class laundry experience that Tide strives to deliver for both large and high-efficiency full loads. Tide's definition of a medium load has not changed because our research indicates that those load sizes have not shifted upwards like larger loads have. Bars 1 and 2 remained the same height because bars 1 and 2 are most commonly used for Tide's medium load. Dosing instructions, while bars 3, 4, and 5 are most commonly used for Tide's large and HE dosing instructions. The fact that they call it dosing instructions really bothers me, by the way. Because it just makes me automatically go into a clinical place, but whatever. The response is they said bars 1 and 2 did not change when he clearly sent a picture of the fact that they are, in fact, very different by weight and by eye. You can see that they're different, and this is him putting the old one in the new one, so you can see exactly what it is. So this guy is goated. Somebody at an actual news service should take this already, done reporting and dig a little more on it and get a story out of it, because there's a lot here, honestly. There's a lot of BS going around in the Tide. Not only are they shrinking it, they're changing the formula, they're fucking with the load numbers, they're fucking with the numbers on the cap. So you use more detergent per load than you actually need to, technically, or maybe you aren't because it's actually a weaker formula. You don't know, because you'll never be able to find out, because you're not Tide. You're not P&G. You're not Procter & Gamble, and you're not worth $1 bajillion and can do whatever the fuck you want. So let's move on to a quick one. Dollarama, I don't even know where this is. It just made me laugh, the fact that a company took a 1 kilogram, like this is probably Canada, I'm assuming, metric system, right? The metric system is designed to make things easier. So you have a 1 kilogram bag of rice. That makes sense in everybody's mind. Simple, easy, effective. And then they made it 900 grams, which is just ridiculous, while also increasing the price by 50 cents for rice. Rice, like the cheapest thing you can possibly have. They just made the bag smaller and increased the price at the same time on fucking rice, which is just, noteworthy. This is another noteworthy, interesting one. I actually really love doing this video. Shake and bake. I have not personally had shake and bake in a long time. This is not necessarily about the ounces, because I believe the ounces are the same. I don't actually know, because again, I haven't had shake and bake in a long time. The important part of this, and it's like the thing that Hot Pockets did that I made a whole video about. They took out the plastic bags in the shake and bake box to shake your chicken with the crumbs. That's the entire purpose of this product, in case you don't know. It's basically breadcrumbs and seasoning, right, that you pour into a plastic bag, and then you put the chicken in there and you shake it so it covers all the chicken. Now they're selling the shake and bake, but they're only selling the bake, I guess. It's not actually shake and bake if you can't use the product you're buying to shake. I feel like somebody should sue Shake and Bake. If there's any lawyers watching this, please get in contact with me. I would love to represent the lawsuit against Shake and Bake for taking the shaker bags out of their product and still calling it Shake and Bake, because that is blatant bullshit lie. So let's move on from that. The fact that the plastic bags aren't in there is so funny, though. Like, who is buying Shake and Bake? And everybody who buys Shake and Bake is going to buy one without the bag soon, and they're going to be like, what the fuck is this? Like, what? Obviously, you can use something else, but the whole point is that it's supposed to be simple and easy for you to make dinner by buying this one box with some chicken, and that's it. Everything you need is there, but not anymore. This is a nice one. This is a sly one. Even Tabasco, whose bottles are already small, like in every respect, managed to go on one of their sizes from 60 to 57 without making any kind of remark. Just 3 little tiny milliliters. And there's a guy down here who did a bunch of math. The fact is, these 3 milliliters definitely save Tabasco a little bit of money. They're going to increase their profits by doing this, but of course, you get less. And this is like perfect shrinkflation. This is an ideal example because it's so deceptive. It's literally just 3 ounces. Same, it looks identical. It's just a 3 ounce difference. Not 3 ounces, 3 milliliters. 3 ounces would be a huge difference. 3 milliliter difference for this product, and probably nobody would ever notice this, but thankfully, Perfect Pension 545 on Reddit noticed it. Shout out. Here's another one, cheese balls. Utz cheese balls, kind of a party tradition. I've never really been too into them, but I have gotten them on occasion over the years. It's just something that is seemingly in a lot of pantries all the time. Including mine, even though I don't eat them that often. But I haven't bought Utz cheese balls in a while. And this is definitely part of the reason. And I think it's when this shrink is happening. I think it's probably more around... I just spit everywhere. That's disgusting. But I think it's more around this era that I stopped buying them when they switched from this to this. Because that's already like a huge decrease. They went from 35 ounces to 28 ounces, a 7-ounce difference. These two are actually the same ounces, so this picture is a little bit kind of deceptive on that front because these are the same, they just changed the packaging. But this is a major, major problem. So we've gone from 35 ounces in 2010 to 23 ounces in 2024 for absolutely no legitimate reason. There is no reason to shrink these products at all. If they want to save money, then they should be outright with the consumers and say, hey, the product costs more. I think everybody understands basically that the Utz cheese balls, that like buying this 2010 container right here is not going to be the same price in 2024 for the exact same amount. I think everybody understands that things do cost a little bit more. The problem lies in the fact that not only do things not cost a little bit more, they cost a fucking lot more. The size also goes down with it. That's the disingenuous thing of it all. And a company like Utz, I like their products, but they, like everybody else, purposefully do these shrinkflation tactics and don't mention it. And this picture, again, is another perfect example of shrinkflation at work. The 2021 to 2024 difference doesn't even look that big, but 5 ounces is in fact quite a lot of difference. In fact, this is very noticeable. This is not as noticeable, but it is almost the same impact. So, fuck Utz. Don't buy their shit anymore. Cliff Bars, another big scam. Obviously, Cliff Bars have a long sordid history of a lot of things. But generally, I would not recommend buying Cliff Bars anymore. I used to be a big fan back in the day, like 2010, 2005, back when they were pushing and they were popular. I was a fan. But no, do not pay any amount of money for a Cliff Bar anymore. I mean, even before, 6 bars for $8.99 is some bullshit pricing. But them removing a whole bar is next level shit. For Cliff. I mean, you think people won't notice that on Cliff Bars? Those are things that people count, I think, so it's a little ridiculous. Whatever. Now we have something a little bit different. This link did come from Reddit, but it links to the Daily Mail .uk.co.uk, which is .com up here. More importantly, the Daily Mail is, a trash website. They're basically, a rag. They're like one of those news outlets that is like at the grocery checkout that has some crazy bullshit in it that's obviously fake. That's kind of their vibe. But, of course, they also have real news. And when you have real news, you have real pictures to back it up. And we have here perhaps today's winner of shrinkflation design by making the box slightly skinnier, but actually taller than it used to be, but shrinking it by 1.3 ounces. So, as this quote says, as a consumer, you'd think you'd grab the larger box, only to realize it's actually 1.3 ounces less. And of course, it's the same price. So, Kellogg's Special K, they took out 1.3 ounces of their cereal. They took it from a standardized size of 16.9 ounces to a size of 15.6 ounces, but also simultaneously made the box look bigger to literally trick you. This, again, should be regulated, but it's not. Now, this is probably the saddest one today because I regret to inform everybody that Trader Joe's has fallen. I don't actually have a Trader Joe's near me. I have not been to one in many years. I don't really, it's not my store. I don't have one near me, so I can't frequent it to buy their products. But I know a lot of people love Trader Joe's. A lot of people love their stuff. And unfortunately, I have to report that Scuba Steve says the pita breads have gone from 6. Now, this is interesting. They went from 18 ounces, 6 pita pockets, right, to 4. Now, that is possibly... I keep saying that, like, this is the worst example, so I gotta stop doing that, because these are all bad, but it really sucks to go from 6 to 4. They didn't even bother going to 5, and in my mind, I think it's a psychological trick, of course, because things generally... People like when things come in even numbers. That's why a pack of 5 Cliff Bars is kind of off-putting when it used to be 6. 5 as an odd number, just generally... psychologically is off-putting in a multi-pack. I don't know. It's something you don't notice until you do notice it. When you go to buy multi-packs of things, you'll find that most are even numbers for a reason. So that's probably why they skipped from 6 to 4, but that's just utterly ridiculous, especially since it is the same price. Now, I don't know if the recipe changed. This guy's saying, I bet they got thinner too. Per ounce, they're the same. They seem smaller but thicker. That's probably just speculation. But it's not speculation that you lost 2 pita pockets and you're paying the same amount. So thanks for nothing, Joe. And now we'll move on to... This is actually an interesting question that I want to save. So we'll put that over there. Premium beer maker. This is another interesting angle on shrinkflation. Shrink alternative, as it says here. Because they're not actually shrinking the size of the product. They're shrinking the amount of alcohol in the product. And this one... seems to me like the dumbest idea on earth. Like, I don't think that this is going to work because I feel like, shrinkflation, the way it works in general is that people don't notice. But I think people will notice when their beer goes from 5% to 3.4%. That's a huge difference. This is Grolsch Premium Pilsner, for anybody who doesn't want to click the link, which is me. So Grolsch Premium Pilsner, if you've drank that or you drink that, I'm sorry. They're ruining it. It's officially shit now because it doesn't matter what it tastes like. They fucked it up. So that's all there is to it. It's not like it was... I don't know how much money this saves them. Save a whopping 23 cents, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole story. They decided, honestly, they said that the taste is more important than the alcohol content in their beer, and they are... wrong. Now, another aside here in the shrinkflation agenda, fast food. Let's get into that. This is at a McDonald's in the Pacific Northwest, i.e. Washington or Oregon, potentially, who has a sign that says, sodas are filled behind the counter and refills are 50 cents to provide you with the lowest possible soda price, which is maybe the most infuriating thing I've read. Because it's the to provide you the lowest possible soda price with the exclamation point that really just sets me off the edge. It's like this sign was made specifically to piss people off. Like, nothing about this is good marketing. I don't know. I assume this is some kind of regional chain, like, not chain, franchise owner that printed up this shitty sign. But it's like designed to infuriate because it's the soda at this McDonald's is not going to be any cheaper than the soda at any other McDonald's. In fact, it'll probably be more because you're in an expensive area, which is generally where these kind of tactics are used. And the lack of convenience, right? So what's going to happen, I believe, in my opinion, what I hope will happen at least, is that people will just not buy sodas because This is straight up bullshit. And the reason why self-serve fountains, this is the funniest thing, right? I'm not old enough to really know this for like firsthand, but the history of the self-serve soda fountain, right? Because everybody understands that back in the day there were soda jerks and it was like a bar kind of thing, and then you had to get your drinks behind the counter. And now everybody uses soda fountains, self-serve soda fountains. That's how it's been since I've been alive. But it was not always that way, and the invention of the self-serve soda fountain was basically spurned on to save money, basically to have employees not have to bother processing a transaction with money, with cash, to refill a soda and waste company time, essentially. You're wasting a minute of an employee's time to take 50 cents in cash, maybe have to give you change, maybe somebody gives you a 20, that's what I would do, just to be fucking annoying. Maybe somebody gives you some crazy shit, whatever. It takes time. It takes employee time for them to refill the soda, and it's not worth the actual cost of the actual liquid, because soda itself is like nothing. Somebody refilling their soda doesn't cost them 50 cents. It doesn't cost McDonald's 50 cents for you to refill your soda. It probably costs them like 2 to 3, maybe possibly 5 cents tops for you to refill the biggest soda at McDonald's in terms of the actual liquid content you're getting there. So the reason that the soda fountains were invented, the self-serve soda fountain was invented in the first place, was to save money for the company, and now they're trying to turn around and do this. Hopefully they'll learn their lesson, because you'll see quickly that self-serve soda fountains are generally a good idea, and they're there for a reason. So hopefully this changes, but I hate when sodas are refilled behind the counter in general. But when you're charging for it, that's 100 times worse. Don't charge for refills. That's ridiculous for a soda fountain. It's not like it's some specialty drink. This one affects me a little bit. This is obviously not a food necessarily, but Metamucil is something I've been off and on using for a long time. You need fiber. I use it as a fiber supplement. I generally will buy the off-brand alternative when I can, but this is just ridiculous, the decrease here. And I don't know, I don't know for sure. I'm not I haven't fact-checked this. I don't know for sure that this is like not a different size, because it's such a like large difference. It makes me think that maybe they're different sizes. But yeah, it's ridiculous. Metamucil is already insanely overpriced. The fact that, like this guy says, just buy a 4-pound tub of pure psyllium husk. That's a good idea. The only reason I don't do that is because I'm lazy and I actually kind of like the taste of the orange. But I'm about to switch, because Metamucil was already one of those things that was insanely expensive that I only kind of bought because I liked the taste of it a little bit better than the off-brands, but not anymore. Sorry. Now let's get into Halloween. Back in the day, i.e. yesterday. So Halloween, in 2023, Pokemon put out these Trick or Trade booster bundles, which I thought was a really cool idea, which had 50 little packs in them. I think they were like, okay, $15. I thought they were like $20. So $15 and you get 50 little packs, and that's great. I think that these are cool as an alternative to candy if you don't want to hand out candy, or an addition, whatever. Then this year, they returned after they were a hit. I think most people liked them in general, to be 35 packs for the same price, 30% less cards. So yeah, this is just blatant. This is not like they went from 50 to 45. They went from 50 to 35, a 30% decrease in the amount you get for the same price for a Halloween product that's, for kids, that's basically trash that you're going to throw away. So, fuck Pokemon also. Next up, this one is not actually this is kind of a shitpost on my part. Obviously, there's a bunch of comments in here, and this mod post says, "Hey everyone, yes." I don't know if this is actually shrinkflation. I don't know if these are actually smaller than they were before. I'm sure they are smaller than they were when they first came out. But essentially, mini candies are BS, and anybody buys them, just don't hand those out. This is like handing out a rock. I mean, as far as I'm concerned on Halloween. Fun size bars barely count as fun size anymore. Just avoid minis. They're ridiculous. and they're completely overpriced and bullshit. I do like the fact that it's just an S on there. And I know there are other letters to make it spell Snickers, but no. All right, now let's get to the last one. This is one that I was just kind of perusing. Just a food for thought to finish off with. I don't want to spend too much on this, but this was an interesting post that was posted 2 days ago. If inflation is under control, why are things still shrinking? I'm sure this group can relate, but if inflation is under control, why do we keep seeing such terrible trends? Other than the corporate greed response, are there any other logical answers? So let's go to the first one. I've seen charts showing that many companies have record high profits. Sure, there might be some inflation, but these companies are guilty of shrinkflation, are using inflation as an excuse to sell less of their product for the same price. Exactly. For example, here in Denmark, we have a company called Arla. The heavy cream they used to sell had 38% fat in it, but they reduced it to 36% while keeping the price the same. They said it was because they cared about the health of Danish citizens and wanted to combat obesity. See, this is just like the shake and bake where it says they took the plastic bags out, or the Hot Pockets where they took the sleeves out to help the environment. They lowered the amount of actual full-fat cream in their product, which is, the expensive part, to combat obesity, not to save money, which is fucking insane. Yeah, but I don't think anybody has any other legitimate answers other than corporate greed. That's all there is to it. It's deeply ingrained. It's just the way it is. These companies, regardless of who's at the top, their job essentially is to make more money than the last quarter. That's all that matters in their minds. And these CEOs and the people, the executives, all that matters is how can they make more money than they did last year. Doesn't matter what happens to their product in the long term. All that matters is short-term gain. That's the ideal, or that's the ideal that CEOs are chasing, essentially. That's why you see most CEOs end up taking a golden parachute at the end after they fuck up their company by pursuing short-term profits. It's something that's happened many times. It's just in the last few years that it's gotten so in your face and so insulting because things are shrinking to the point where it's noticeable now. You can't shrink a product 30% and people not notice. You may be able to shrink it 5% one year and 5% the next year and people don't notice, but eventually it adds up and the things are just obvious now. It's very obvious that these products that were being sold every day that we need to live, such as, basic food, grocery necessities, toilet paper, paper towels, everything, is grossly overpriced. It already was grossly overpriced before. They were already making millions. But not only that, every year, every chance that they get, they will squeeze the product and squeeze the consumer to make more money by giving you less and charging more for the same thing. Because that's how they make more profits. And they need to make more money than last year. That's the thing I want everybody, I'm sure everybody knows this already. But the important thing to note is, yes, the profits to them, the quarterly profits, the next year's profits are quite literally all that matters for most CEOs. For most publicly traded companies, in fact, because they have technically a duty to shareholders to increase the value of the shares. That's why you have a bunch of people, invested in the stock market and they want to make money. And the only way they make money is if the stock goes up. And the only way the stock goes up is if the company makes more money. And the only way they're going to make more money in the short term is by doing the shrinkflation shit because they have nothing else. They're just milking what they built up over the past, basically, however long they've been in business. That's what it really feels like. It feels like all idea of these businesses becoming sustainable and building yourself into a great company, that's all out the window. Nobody cares about that anymore. All that matters is how can we make more money in the short term. That's the bottom line. So yeah, that's This Week in Inflation. 30 minutes to cover 15 stories of shrinkflation, not inflation, of shrinkflation, basically. And that's just in 1 week. So we'll see what comes up next week. If anybody watches this, I don't know if anybody really cares. I hope people care, but, we'll see. So that's that, and I'll see you all next time.